All right, looks like we are live. I go by a couple different names, so I just have my excuse me as I forget everything I'm trying to say. I have my NaNo screen name at the bottom because we might have people from a couple different groups here, and I go by a couple different names. I'm going to add a little. Let's see if I can do this. I don't normally add banners, but I'm going to add this banner to the bottom. All right, I can't type and talk at the same time. And we have people here. All right, so I'm just adding a little banner right now to let everybody know if they're not used to watching streams. I know, did that? There we go. I got it. There is a delay. If you say something in YouTube, it's going to take probably about, let's see, about 30 seconds for me to see it. Hey, Natalia, thanks for coming. So my plan tonight is just to I'm going to go over how I do my outlines and a couple of different programs that are available to you for plotting purposes, for noveling purposes, I guess. And then if anybody has any questions, we will go from there. I am open to any questions. I'm going to be talking about plotting and programs, but once we move on, anything you want to know. So the little window I have right now is the program is WaveMaker, and I'm going to post in comments the website for it, but it's a weird website, so it might not work. It might not be something that you can click on. It's wavemaker.cards, and it's actually an app. As opposed to a program, which normally doesn't make a big difference. It did for me trying to find it today because it's technically, I guess, a Chrome app. So it didn't come up in like my regular programs, and that's okay. I'm using WaveMaker this time because it happened to fit a little bit better with what I'm doing because I'm plotting out 6 novels at the same time. But the basics on this, and hopefully you guys can see it okay. It's a little squirrely in my window, but oh, I wish there was a way for me to show my mouse. I bet there is, and I don't know what it is. But basically, all the novel writing programs have a similar setup to them where they will have a directory on, normally I feel like everywhere I've seen it, it's been on the left side. Actually, I'm going to be showing you YWriter, and that one's a little different. It's got it there and then on the top, and it opens up. We'll get there though. But they all do about the same function where you can break your story up into chapters and scenes. With WaveMaker specifically, one of the neat things with this is it's actually called, they don't have a name for it. It's just levels like a regular outline. So if you wanted to break it up further, these 2 buttons at the top are add sibling and add child, and they will either drop down, like if you see here, I've got, since this is 6 books, I've actually got the 6 books here. And then I don't actually deal with chapters until I'm already done and I'm editing. So in each one, I just have a breakdown of scenes. I've done some of them, and I haven't finished it all yet, but that is what I'm currently working on. The way that I do this outlining, though, is really simple. For WaveMaker, with each scene, or each level, I guess, it doesn't matter if it's the book or the plot or the book or the chapter or the scene or what have you, On the opposite side, they're going to have this add note system over here. Whatever notes you have for that, you can throw right there. I have a couple of them that are color coded. You see this right here because what I'm writing is coming from two different characters' perspectives. So this little blue card reminds me when I'm writing that this is from the man's perspective because I'm writing romance. So what I do when I set myself up for NaNo, and just in general, I write in sprints. It's how I am most productive, whether it's a NaNo or not. So what I do is I write up these little cards, and so the whole time that I'm writing, I have this little reference here for what the scene is supposed to be. They're not very detailed. Most of them are pretty short. I've got some monster ones. But in general, they're short, just a quick reference. If I need to remember anything extra, you see that a couple of them have multiple cards. There's one that has multiple cards, but where I have to remember to throw extra little things in there. They're probably foreshadowing or something like that. I put them all there. And then that way, when I'm writing, I have that quick reference. I don't need to flip screens. It's really convenient in WaveMaker. The other thing that's nice about WaveMaker is if you see this sidebar here, this is all a bunch of different ways to plot out your story. So there are database cards. This is really nice because you can put hashtags on them and then search for that. So if you are sorting out, this one happens to be sci-fi. So I've got like a lot of world building that's going on. So this is nice to just have for, if I have to pull up facts about things that obviously I can't have always handy, it's there. I certainly don't want all of this information available at every single scene, but if I need to go to it, it's easy for me to find. There's also a snowflake tool. I don't snowflake, so this is beyond me. I don't touch it. There is a planning board, and this actually is all of the cards that I have made in that main writing screen. There's a grid planner. There's also, I don't know what a mind map is. If you know what a mind map is, there is a mind map option. And then for me, a big one is there is an actual timeline tool. Wherever you are in your timeline, if you just click the little icon that's in between the two places that you want to go, it'll spawn one right above it, and you can add as many as you want. I'm going to delete that. I definitely want that deleted. There's also a timer mode. So if you want to do sprints, you can do sprints with it. And then there's export and there's sync up. The one problem with this program, huge problem with this program. So starting with the good part of this program is I have that exact same thing on my phone, and it is very convenient because it is very much identical to what you see on the screen. Of course, I've got a weird shine on it, but that is the writer mode. And then I can actually pull up my plot cards right there. Really easy to write with. It does not automatically sync though. You have to do all of the syncing yourself, and if you mess it up, you can delete your stuff. So that sucks a whole bunch. It is the one big problem I have found with this program. Major problem, but it's the only problem I have found so far. I found everything else really convenient. So that is WaveMaker. And then we're going to switch to another program. WaveMaker is also free. It is completely free. So obviously that is nice, especially with all these programs. There's so many of these programs out there, and a lot of them you can't really test out before you buy them, and it sucks because you don't want to pay for it if you're not going to like it. And obviously I've been through a whole bunch of these programs trying to find the one that I like. So the one I've got on the screen now is YWriter. And the link for that is in the Facebook group. I don't know if I put it on here or not. I'm just going to write out the name down here. If you Google it, you can find it. I believe the producer of it is Space Jock, but don't quote me on that. So this one has a slightly different setup. The big problem with this one is it is not as pretty as the other ones. But the way that this one works is you've got all of the, oh, hey, there's my mouse. Yay. So you've got all of your chapters here. For me, they're not chapters. They're a breakdown of locations because, again, I do not chapter in advance, and that's okay. So you've got the breakdown here, and then in each one, we are in the reunion tab. Then there's a bunch of other ones, obviously. But for this, all of the scenes pop up over here. The writing for it, this is a story that I've already finished. Everything for the content for it is down below. And then there's also some other tabs. There's a description, characters, locations, items, scene notes, and goals. And then let's see if it'll let me show you this. So the way that YWriter works is you actually get a pop out or pop up for, there it is. Yay. Okay. So you actually do all of your writing in here. Again, this is another one where you can do all of your outlining in advance, and that is through filling in this detail tab. And then as you're writing, you can go right to your details and hop back. And then it's really nice that you have the character tab here. So if you need to grab a character's name, it's there. Any extra notes, apparently I have no notes here. Items. So this one's really nice for organization as well. The problem with YWriter is, as you can see, it is not very attractive. I don't want it to look like this. It just does look like this. It is what it is. So, and then this one, I haven't, with the one that I just showed you, WaveMaker, I have not tried to export anything yet to see what happens when I send it to Microsoft Word or whatever word processor you happen to use. You know, with any novel, most people do not finish it in these programs. They will transfer to something where it'll be a document. I don't know how it works in WaveMaker. With YWriter, you lose pretty much everything. It pretty much nukes your formatting. For me, that's not a problem because I'm going to be doing more edits when I get into another program, get into a Microsoft Word. For some people, this is a problem though. So that's something to watch out for and to think of when if you use this, that you will have to add, like, I'm even talking about like italics and stuff like that. It'll drop that. It'll still have your paragraph breaks in it. You're not going to get that string of letters that you get in, I believe that's WordPad that does that. So you don't have that, but you don't have a whole lot else either. This one is also completely free forever. And if you are good with computer programming, you can actually go, it's open source. You can actually go into the programming and do whatever you want with it. I don't believe this is any sort of phone capabilities device. Anything like that. It also has a really funky autosave feature where if you don't save, you have to kind of go through autosave files to get your old documents. So an issue with that one as well. Okay. And then one last one is the big one. And that is Scrivener. Scrivener is one of the sponsors of NaNoWriMo, and they are kind of, I mean, I feel like it is the software that the majority of novel writers use. I'm not huge on Scrivener. I did use it for a long time. It never quite got me what I needed to, but here we are with one of my Scrivener files. And you see yet again that it has this breakdown of chapters and scenes. And you can go pretty far into this one as well. So you've got your, for this one, it's got parts and chapters and scenes, however you want to do it. So that is this one. Now, all of that extra content that in YWriter was those extra tabs, and in WaveMaker was that drop-down menu on the side. All of the extra stuff, all of the resources for this is at the bottom. It's below where your manuscript would be. So you see, you've got, I don't know how well you guys can read it, but you've got your front matter, and then you've got your research stuff. And unfortunately, I don't really use this. So most of my stuff isn't here, but you do have places for your character sketches and setting sketches. And then I wish I had set this up in advance. There is an outline. Oh, let me, hopefully this doesn't crash everything. I have used the outlining tool in one of these if I can find it. Of course, this is where we're going to be today, is I can't find what I want. I should have thought, I told myself earlier today that, that I needed to pull up the right file, and this was not it, but that's okay. Let's see if I can open it. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? Also, hey, words fall. Words fall. Yes. Okay. The first out looks a little funny on my screen. And hey, Sandy. Let's see. And hey, Karen. Thank you all for joining us. You know that moment where you know exactly where everything is until you're under any sort of pressure whatsoever? That's what's happening right now. I can pull this thing up anytime, but now we're doing it. Okay. So, oh my gosh, there we go. So we'll see if I have this filled in. Haha. Okay. So, oh, I don't. Oh no. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to be able to show you an outline in this, and apparently I cannot. I am sorry, but there is an outlining thing. There's also, if you use the outlining tool, you can put in synopses for your scenes, just like I showed you in the other two programs. Those will appear right here. And you, I believe, can make this bigger. This program is a little bit squirrely about finding the window expander. So I'm not going to do it because I can't flip and find it. But that is where it would pop up. So you do have that immediate reference with this one as well. And then there's also a bunch of like metadata functions and a general note section. I don't use any of this stuff with Scrivener. Again, I found Scrivener to be a little frustrating. So that was, yeah, that's Scrivener. Okay, so I do have a question. I'm going to flip back to this. If you guys want to see anything else in those three programs, though, it is still up, and I can do my best to show you what I can, or potentially bring somebody in who's better. Okay, so Yoda, welcome. Let's see, I bought Scrivener after Camp Nano this year, but haven't used it yet. I was excited about the organizational tools, but was worried about the formatting once you export. Is it any better than YWriter? Yes, it is. I am not a pro. Again, I cannot stress enough that I am not great at Scrivener. So I'm not a pro at this, and I definitely still have a couple of formatting issues, but it is much better than YWriter when you export it. And it's, you actually, you can use it, like you don't even need to export it. I always do because, again, I like to polish things in Word, but if you don't want to do that, you can actually make, yay, words have been a struggle for me lately because I no longer have a 9 to 5. You can export to EPUB. That was what I was trying to say. You can export to ebook or whatever other format you want. I believe you can do, I don't know if you can do paperbacks or not, but paperbacks are a whole other nightmare that we don't need to go into tonight. This is about Nano, and we are not talking about paperbacks because that is so far down the line. If you ever want to talk about paperbacks, though, I'm willing to have that conversation, but not for Nano. But yes, to make a long story short, it is better than YWriter for exporting. And if that is something that really bothers you, then you do not want to use YWriter because it will nuke everything. Okay, so that was my little warm-up talk. And now I am open for questions. If you guys want to know anything, I'm just going to babble for a couple of minutes and we'll see if we get some questions in. I'm really good at babbling. So a little bit about me with the whole nano thing. I've actually been doing nano since 2004. That number was called into question a whole bunch recently because I couldn't think of what the number was, what year or how long I've been doing it for. Because I was thinking 2002. It's actually been since 2004 that I've been doing nano. Between the regular November nanos and the camps, I believe I've got 25 under my belt. I've been doing this for a really long time. I am an overachiever, 100%. So don't compare your numbers to mine. I'm planning on writing 2 books at least, and also editing a book. I'm going to be writing a book and then editing a book and then writing a second book. This is all I do now, though. So don't compare yourself to me. The best piece of advice I can give for anybody who, whether it's your first time with nano or you struggle to get that count, is word sprints. Word sprints are everything. If you can get yourself sat down and just set a clock or log on, there are tons of write-ins that do word sprints here on YouTube. I am one of them. We do 4 a week right now at the minimum. But there are tons of other channels. Everybody does word sprints during them. You just sit there and write. And the thing is that you give yourself that X amount of time. We run ours anywhere between 10 minutes and 30 minutes, depending on which show we're doing. You just sit there and write the entire time. And if you can keep yourself from getting distracted by all of the 8 million distractions out there, and you just force yourself to write the words, you're going to get the word count that you're looking for. And the nice thing with word sprints is that even if you're really busy, if you can find yourself 10, 15, 20 minutes here or there to just bang out a whole bunch of words, you'll get that. It's 1667 that you have to do every single day. Or, of course, with most people, I'm certainly not that consistent either. Even with my big numbers, I fluctuate anywhere between like 500 and 5,000 a day. If you do that, though, you find those little chunks, you're going to get that goal that you need. Now, I say that, but the other big piece of advice I have for everybody is make your goals reasonable. If this is your first time doing nano, don't worry so much about the goals. If this is not your first time and you have failed several times, set your goals more reasonable for what you know that you can do. I like 50,000 is nothing for me. So it's not a challenge for me to say 50,000. And it's not like, why am I even here if I'm not challenging myself? So I give myself a much bigger goal. If your goal is 10,000 words, like if that's all you think that you are ever going to be capable of writing in a month, set your goal to 15,000 words. Because the thing is that a lot of people, like one of the biggest problems with nano is people get through the first week and everything is amazing. And then they get through the second week and everything starts to tank. And suddenly they see themselves having only half a month left. They've got 15 days left and they still have 40,000 words to write and they quit. I don't want anybody to quit. So I would rather you, if you get to 2 weeks in and you only have 10,000 words, if you only set your goal for 20,000 words, you're right on track and you're going to get yourself through it. So it's great to give yourself that goal of 50,000. There is the bragging rights behind it. You get the fun little banner if you hit 50,000 words. You get a couple of nice discounts if you want to use them. If you're thinking about buying Scrivener, it's a great time. Also, I am, in fact, surrounded by cats. They're on both sides of me. They decided that this was where they had to be tonight because I was doing stuff. Also, my purse is here. And did you see him attack me when I tried to show you my purse? He loves my purse. That's his purse. He doesn't know me. Cats everywhere. Anyways, so yeah, those are my 2 biggest pieces of advice for nano. Give yourself an actual goal that you can attain. Because at the end of the day, like I said, all you get from it a pretty banner, a little certificate if you feel like printing it up, a couple of coupons, but that's all you actually get from it. I want you guys to get a story from it. I want you guys to feel like you succeeded. And if 50,000 words is not success for you, either because it's unattainable or because it's too attainable, you're not going to have that feeling of accomplishment. For me, my feeling of accomplishment is going to be when I get that second novel done. And if I have more time behind it, yay. But if I don't, that's okay. Oh gosh, you guys don't have any questions today. I was really hoping there'd be questions. We don't. So another good piece of advice is to go to write-ins. Of course, we can't actually go to write-ins this year, and it sucks. But I'm not mad at NaNo for saying no write-ins. I'm mad at the world for being what the world is right now. But it sucks that we don't have any in-person write-ins this year, so we don't get that. But again, on YouTube alone, there are tons of write-ins that are happening all year round, but there's going to be even more this year. And then you've got Twitter. There's a whole writing community, literally hashtag writing community, that will be doing stuff. And then NaNoWriMo has their own nano word sprints that are ML run. They are very fast paced. Normally there's only like a 5-minute break between them. But that's a good way if you're sitting down and you need somebody to yell at you a little bit, but like nicely. By yell at you, I mean they're going to tell you to start writing right now. That's a good motivator. Also, a lot of people are using Discord these days. Our region, Marietta, Kennesaw, does not have a Discord because we're too small and there wasn't enough interest, and I didn't feel like figuring all of that out. But there are tons of Discord channels specifically for NaNoWriMo and then just writing in general. These are all things that you can find on the NaNo forums. I know that the NaNo forums are a train wreck, and that is okay. There is still good information there. I'm sure there are other things. Those are the ones that I know of. And I'll be doing stuff specifically for you guys when we get going as well. But again, I run sprints constantly. Damn, I thought of something else in the middle of all that, but here I am on my rambles. Give me a second and I'll figure it out. You guys talk amongst yourselves. It's so quiet. This is the quietest I've seen the room in ages. Or has my stuff died on me? If my stuff has died on me, somebody send me a private message. But I don't see any comments coming in. Damn. What was that I was going to say? It's so gone now. Don't be afraid when you're writing, if you lose your train of thought, to jump somewhere else. Or my favorite technique, if I can't figure out where it's going, I'm a linear writer. A lot of writers are linear writers. A lot of writers are not. I don't understand how y'all do it if you don't write linear, but that's okay. I'm a linear writer. So when I give you the advice, if you're stuck, just jump ahead. That is, I guess, for linear writers, because if you don't, then you're jumping around anyways. What I do, if I am in a sticky spot and I can't figure it out, I showed you guys all of those outlines that I do, but I am a pantser at heart. I was a pantser for years, and to an extent, I still kind of do it with my outlines because you guys saw all of the information that I have. I don't do great big character sketches. I don't do a whole lot of world building. I figure out the very basics and go from there. I have the story, but I don't know all the little details, and I'm excited about all the little details. But where I was going with that is if you guys get stuck on something. I know that writer's block and literally just getting stuck on Steam scenes is one of the biggest killers for writers, and will make you want to quit your project. I get it. I've been there so many times. Just write just like freestyle, just write wherever you need to go with it. Normally, what you're getting stuck on is how to get your characters from A to B. If you can't figure out how to do it, just put a note in your story saying, I need to get these characters from A to B, and I'm going to figure out how to do it later. And as long as it's not a huge jump, you will be able to figure it out later. This part, so Natalia, yay, I have a question. Unfortunately, Natalia just asked if WaveMaker is exporting user-friendly with it. I have not actually exported anything with it. And now I feel bad for not doing that in advance. I am going to do a little thing right now and see what happens if I try to export. I am literally just typing in some gobbledygook in a couple of different scenes. And oh geez, okay. Don't use the tab function in this because the tab function just takes you up to a menu at the top of the screen. None of us should be tabbing anyways. We're in a world beyond tabbing. That's all part of formatting. I'm going to do a little experiment though and see what happens if I just export these couple of things that I did. Okay, so I'm going to bring you guys in on this. All I did was filled in a couple of scenes with some random typing. I also threw some italices in it just to, again, see what was going to happen. And hopefully I don't have anything questionable on this screen because I'm just going to do a share screen. There is my screen right here. Okay, so we're all seeing this for the first time, except for Allie, who has said that WaveMaker works out fine for exporting. We're going to all see this together, though. So there are a whole bunch of options here. I can export as HTML, as Markdown, as Word, as ebook, as RTF, and I have no idea what export project means. I guess it's just to probably a backup. That's what I'm going to call it. I have no idea. So a couple of these that are the important ones to me say this is experimental. And that one in particular is Word and ebook. But that does not necessarily mean anything. So we're going to export to Word. It's going to think about it. I have a whole bunch of really heavy programs running right now. So my computer is being a little bit sluggish with this. I don't know why I went specifically here. The file name is some craziness. So I'm just going to call this the test. And we're going to save that. And it's got, again, because this is like an app and not a program, but you actually, you can access it directly through the internet, through Chrome or whatever your browser happens to be. But there's also an app that you can download, so you're not running it in Chrome. But I guess technically all that is just Chrome. It's just like another instance of it. And now I'm going to go ahead and open this. And again, you'll have to give me a minute. Let's see. Oh gosh, excuse me while Word opens. Oh, that's really smart. Allie. Oh geez, what did I do? Okay, so first of all, Allie says that she just exported a Word doc, wanted to have a copy not saved on the net. That is really smart, by the way. It's a good way to back up your stuff. And again, this is a program that is difficult for that. Okay, so this is the gobbledygook that I typed. Now, if we compare it to what was actually there, we did lose quite a bit of information there. I don't consider it to be important information, but you see that I just did these one scene was a little bit of gobbledygook, and the next one was 2 lines of gobbledygook. And then when I sent it to Word, I did not get an actual breakdown of chapter and scene on this, but I did get the pound sign or hashtag, depending on your age, in between each scene. So you will still definitely have to do some formatting on it because it did not carry over the names. Allie, if you happen to know this, let me know. But if there's a way to do that. But everything is here, and it does have the formatting that I gave it. So, and by that, I mean it has the italices that I threw into it, and it was the correct amount of lines. So that looks fairly good to me, as long as you're not writing on the actual chapter and scene names. And Ellie, okay, yes. It is definitely. Allie, have you tried using it on your phone? Because I use it on my phone a lot. Again, the only problem with it is that if you are not really hot on the uploading and downloading, you can lose information. I am curious about one more thing, though. So I'm going to go ahead and add something into this next chunk and see if it does anything different, because I technically have 2 chapters filled in now. So another experiment. That's okay. There we go. Forget where the buttons are. We're going to export to Word again. And we're going to call this test 2. And we're going to open it. Oh. Okay, no. So you absolutely, if you do have it divided into different levels, different outline levels, those will not show up on here. That, however, I consider to be fairly easy stuff to work with, and I don't hate that at all. So hopefully, Natalia, that answers your question. So it does not export as much information as Scrivener does, because Scrivener will give you your chapter and scene titles, and they get pretty fancy with it. Oh, I wonder if manuscript settings does anything. Again, I am new to this. Let's see. I don't know what any of this is, so that's okay. We're going to move on from that. Okay, sorry. I was just reading all of that. There was nothing that I need to tell you guys. It's mostly what font you're using and stuff like that. The usual stuff that would go into that. So Yoda asks, speaking of scenes, what do you usually do for scene breaks? 3 asterisks. They're an industry standard that you know of. Always been curious. So Yoda, I indie publish. I self-publish. I put everything up myself. So I don't know I don't think it matters, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and say right off the bat that I don't think it matters if you are intending on going traditionally published and what format it needs to be in your manuscript, as long as it's obvious. And I would say 3 asterisks is absolutely the best way of doing it, because it's very clear, but nobody is going to question what that means. For me, because I self-publish, I have an actual little scrolly thing that I use as a scene break, but that is not something. So if you're going to be indie publishing, you're going to want some sort of little graphic for it, which there are all kinds of directories out there of graphics that are free for commercial use. Make sure they're free for commercial use, though. You don't want to get sued for it, or you can buy it, of course. But if you are planning on traditionally publishing, that's not something that they'll ever call you out on, and they will handle that all on their end. And then Allie has not tried it on her phone. Yeah, it's really nice on the phone. I don't know if you were here at the very beginning when I was talking about it, but it looks very similar to, let's see if I still have this open. Of course I don't. It looks very similar. And of course, I've got that glare to how it does on your computer. Obviously, because it's such a narrow screen, you can't see everything at the same time. But if you just click, there's these 3 little lines right here. You click that and you can see your exactly what you're seeing on my screen right now, where the manuscript settings and then everything is beneath it. And then there's a little button at the top corner. If you take notes, that will take you to your notes. So it is extremely easy to use on your phone. It's just also extremely easy to lose information. So you just always want to make sure that you're up to date on your syncs. The good thing, though, is that as long as you are actively writing and you are a linear writer, you're going to know immediately if you are not synced up. So that's one thing. Like, I'm not too worried about that being devastating once I get going, but I definitely lost a couple of outline chunks because I was bouncing around and didn't sync it up. And I have used it on my phone quite a bit. So again, that is one of the nice perks and also one of the horrible disasters that can occur with it. I'm going to think about another topic in a minute. There was that thing that I completely forgot about for suggestions for NaNo. I told you guys, make sure you use time as well as you can. Use those sprints. Find your groups. Turn off. Put everything in airplane mode if you need to. Lord knows I am super bad about like getting easily distracted. I stupidly always have my phone on my desk, and that's going to stop during NaNo. And I do have friends constantly blowing me up on social media because all of my friends are still really, really bored. I came to the work from home thing much later than everybody else, so I did not go through the sourdough phase that all of my friends went through. They are still really bored at home. I'm excited to be at home because it means that I'm not going to my terrible job anymore. But the world and the computer is a distraction. And unfortunately, we are on our computers to do all this, unless you're writing by hand. More power to you if you are. I would hurt myself doing that, whatever. But if you need to, don't be afraid to put your computer into airplane mode and just give yourself some time to write. Go ahead and do your meal prepping. That is a great way to save time. I like to write while I am cooking, so I'll put things in the oven and then go do some writing. But yeah, NaNo is all about finding the time and also telling people to leave you alone for a little while. I didn't realize that this wasn't like the most common like thought everybody had, but in a couple of days from now, I'm going to remind everybody that is a NaNo month. And even though I am a full-time author now, I hope my friends will still respect the fact that like NaNo is still I am not accessible, because I'm going to be living, eating, breathing, writing. So make sure people know, make sure your friends, make sure the people who contact you the most. Obviously, there are some people, like mom is never going to stop calling you because she's mom. Like, there's going to be those people that you can't turn off. But your friends, most of them you should be able to turn off. I usually, this year, of course, is weird for everything, but I usually let everybody know that once a week I will do a social thing, and that's when you can see me. Obviously, that's not the case this year, but like schedule yourself some social time. whatever that is this year. And then if you have it scheduled, then it's easier to get yourself the time you need at home doing the writing. Natalia asks, does anyone here use Scrivener on a Mac who uses the dictation function? I don't use a Mac, so I don't have an answer to that. But if any of you guys do, Natalia has questions for you. You know, it's funny. I can normally go for so long when I do it's the interaction. I'm used to just talking directly to people and being able to read the room, and there's no room to read here. Oh, here's a good one. For you guys who are pantsers. So pantsing, depending on how you do it, when I pantsed, I always had a good idea of where I was going. I had something in my head that was a little, not an outline, but I had like 5 scenes that I was really excited to write, and I had a good idea of where the story was going to end. But if you are one of those true pantsers that you have no idea what you're doing and you don't know where it's going, and you have that writer's block and you don't know what to do, tarot cards. I have a small collection of them, but tarot cards are really great because if you have your characters, like say you're writing fantasy and your characters are in a forest, and you can't figure out what their next battle is going to be, you can just pull out a random card. And this one happens to be somebody, I hate to shine in here right now. This one is the Star. It is number 17, and it is a lady pouring stars out of a pitcher, and she's got a star behind her. You could use that for inspiration. Just that image alone. I am not smart enough to use that image alone. When I say smart enough, I guess that's just not my form of creativity. I can't make up a story based on this. I guess if you are writing like a true fantasy, you could probably make some craziness work out of that. But tarot cards, of course, come with definitions for them. And the Star, I got lucky and I opened right up to this page. The Star happens to mean this is the card of optimism and hope. You have a chance to start over in long-standing situations. Beware of pride. Aim for cooperation and innovation. And then if it's reversed, remain humble. You'll need imagination to come up with options for action now. Examine and evaluate issues carefully. The funny thing about this description is it's kind of telling you to like keep writing. But you can also apply that to your characters. This was not the best deck of cards to pull out because these are not super fancy writing. But I do like that line. You have a chance to start over in long-standing situations. That might be a really good thinking, springboard for you to get your plot going again. So tarot cards are just really neat because they write stories for you. If you're just really stuck, you have a couple of different ways to go with them. So just a little recommendation from me to you. I am sure that if you go online, you could probably find like a random tarot card generator. There's also random plot generators. They tend to be like weirdly specific though, and I don't recommend them. So that's just a little something that I have used to get myself out of sticky situations in the past. I've also, if you are not a full pantser and you need some little thing to get yourself going in your story, you need some sort of a skeleton for your story, and you don't know what you want, you can also pull out like 5 tarot cards and write yourself a little adventure with them. They're really clever for a writing tool. Hey, Pronoun, thanks for joining us. And then let's see. Oh, Natalia, don't spend $4,000 on a computer. I just saw that comment. Yeah, I don't. I've thought about getting computers built in the last couple of years, and every single time I look at them, I'm like, oh no, I can't. I can't afford this. I'm just gonna buy this pre-made one. So, does anybody else have any questions for me? I feel like I went on a couple of good little tangents there, and I'm hoping that I have helped you guys in some way. Nano can be pretty scary, especially if you've never done it before, or if you have and you failed miserably, or if it's been a long time since you've done any writing. I know, especially this year, there are a lot of people getting back into old hobbies, and this is kind of a good Kickstarter for it. Again, as I've said before, the most important thing to remember is the most important thing so that you actually finish is to set a goal that is reasonable for you. That 50K sounds really nice, and there is a good reason why they said 50K when they first started NaNoWriMo over 20 years ago. It was because 50K is getting you pretty much a novel, depending on what genre you're in, of course. You've definitely capped novella. You are on your way to a full-length novel at that point. 50K is a great, easy number to work with, but it's not a good number for everybody to work with. We have the camps now where you can pick whatever you want for it, and that's great. But for Nano, I don't want anybody to quit just because they can't reach 50K. And I don't want anybody to quit because they reached 50K and they were like, oh, I'm done. And I see people do both of them. So set yourself a goal that's actually works for you, whether it's finishing a novel or writing 10,000 words or writing 30 poems. Be a renegade. Nobody is going to look down on you for being a renegade. I have absolutely done editing during Nano. I've written 30 short stories, and they were short stories, like flash fiction. So they wouldn't have hit 50,000 either. I hit my goal though. And that was the important thing. I wrote a story every single day and I felt really good. Yeah. So I guess that is everything for me tonight. Thank you guys all for coming. If you watch this in the replay, you guys know where to find me. Please feel free to ask me questions in whichever way you can get them to me. Yeah. All right. And Allie, there you go. Yeah, go for 5K. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay motivated. You guys all have a great night, and I will see you in November or tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. when I'm doing word spreads. Good night, everybody.